So much for coming. My name is Vanessa. I'm the CEO of the Ballarat International Foto Biennale. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we stand, the Wadawurrung and Dja Wadawurrung people, and pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. I would also like to acknowledge Alicia Linley, our board chair, who's with us today. Should be happy to speak to any of you. It's been an interesting journey. These days we have boards. In Jeff's day, not so much. Many things have changed. Some things probably improved. And look, we're just extremely proud and privileged to have welcomed Jeff back, and that he's agreed to participate in such an extraordinary way. That's really doing a great honour to the original legacy of this festival, which was Jeff's blood, sweat and tears, and the rallying artists around him. And I'm very happy that you're all back enjoying this 10th edition with us. I would say, I've been here for a year and I didn't know Jeff, and I sort of just bumbled in and pestered him and rocked up at his house and talked to him for 2 hours, and then did that a few times, and Jeff was very welcoming and patient, and I really we wouldn't have pulled together this show. These are Jeff's people and this is Jeff's knowledge, and it's really lovely to have 15 regional Victorian artists here as part of the festival. I think we could do a little bit more of that in the future. We were lucky to have Regional Arts Victoria funding to assist us to do this, and it's just incredibly important that we do continue to show Australian and Victorian artists alongside the international artists, which were also really fantastic to have. But it just makes a lovely ecology when you're all here together. So don't be strangers. Our office is in the Mining Exchange. You're always welcome to come and chat to us for future festivals, and also for the National Centre for Photography, which the Biennale is amidst developing, and we will commence construction on the first stage of that building, I don't know, next week, possibly the week after. We're doing an archaeological survey, and for those of you who don't know, the National Centre for Photography will be at the former Union Bank, just down at Sturt and Lydiard Street. And this also is a result of the strength of the original Biennale from Dale Street onto Ballarat, and the growth and the enthusiasm and love for photography in general that we've managed to continue and build over 19 years, really. And my grateful thanks to the artists and everyone for being here today. So I will hand over to Jeff, and we've got one microphone, so if you're just patient with us, we can help to move it along. But please welcome Jeff Moorfoot.
Thank you, Vanessa, and thank you for giving me the privilege of putting this show together, and being part of the BOFB family again after a hiatus of some 6 years. Before I start, I have some question cards here, but I can get a free-form action. So if anybody would like to propose a question to anybody on the panel, pass it on you and have a pen. But I'm sure people have a pen. If you have a question, and I guess another thing that I would ask, if you have a mobile phone, could you turn it off? I'd give them the gala launch. And just to show how old school I am, I know how to stop it from ringing. I became my phone. I think you turn this off. Okay, so we have, this shows 15 regional Victorian photographers. But I guess it's fair to say it's not about regional photography, it's about photography in a broader sense. It just happens on sort of there's a geographic location of all the artists in this show. And so allow me to introduce myself from Oregon. We have Andrew Chapman. Oh, and here's a latecomer, Robert Ashton. Come on, Robert.
No, sorry.
Robert nearly missed out on the introductions. Hold on, Aldona Metch, who is
She's a Polish girl, I mean, so it's been around a bit, but I mean...
this exhibition, she's from Ballarat. She's Ballarat, yeah. Is that correct? That's correct still?
Yes.
Tim Berber, and Tim is from Dalesford. And has a long association with the Biennale. He was our treasurer for how many years, Tim? Well, a couple of festivals. Can we give Tim a clap as well? And next to him we have Mr. Noof, Trevor Foon, who is from Wonthaggi. And I expect quite a few of you will know the next person in line is Ali Young. Kempton East, which is Gold Street Studios. Next to Ali we have Sandy Shaltima, who is from Trenton. Next to Sandy we have Kim Lucy, who is from Hepburn. Wow. And I guess Kim has the distinction of being an artist in every festival since our inception. So I think the corporation. Next to her from Macedon is lovely Jackie Henshaw. And to my right, the latecomer is Robert Ashton from Arizona. Well, I think we have one missing. Peter Tuffy. Peter was supposed to be here, I thought, from Beechworth. Okay, what a diverse. Well, I guess if you look around, we're all pretty much old school. And I know it wasn't necessarily a deliberate choice of mine. I happen to be old school myself. And it was before I'd come across over the years who I invited to be part of this show. I thank you all for accepting and presenting work. What I'm interested in is the background of all these artists, honestly, because we have a swag here from RMIT. And the RMIT graduates of Jackie Henshaw. Impressive, I know. Media arts. Yeah. Ali Young, who was science stream at RMIT. Trevor Foon is RMIT. And me. We also have a couple of brain graduates. So Robert Ashton, Andrew Chapman.
I'm proud as well.
Been there, done that. So, Tim, what was it?
Well, yeah, I don't have a... 25 years ago I didn't have an arts qualification. Not that I have one now either, but I was in the corporate world. So I went to RMIT, but I did business. And so I'm a refugee from that. But I've been out of that for over 25 years, so I don't consider that. That's probably why you wanted me to be
treasurer.
which I didn't cover myself in glory in that.
Would you like to pass that down to Sandy?
So I have no qualifications other than on the street and starting off at a little weekly newspaper at the age of 16. So I learned as I went along, which is probably pretty hard to do nowadays. Yep.
Pass. Now, I guess when I started thinking about curating this show, I guess it was always my philosophy as a festival director to show a diversity of genres, not just fine art, not just photo documentary. I mean, photography is such a broad church, there's so many different styles of photography. So basically what I hope to do, put this team together, I invited, I think, 3 photojournalists, 3 documentary photographers, 3 fine artists, and 3 alternate practitioners. How many is that 12? Or 15? Well, anyhow, I sort of broke it down. And I gotta say, we lost 3 of the originals along the way for various reasons, so we'll check it out. But we fixed that also, so the more recent ones were Rachel Mousey, who has the surface over in the corner. They are in a group Chapman.
He didn't know I lived in the country. That was the reality.
Well, that will be one of my questions. Actually, it could be probably my. Nikon or Canon? The burning question.
Nikon.
So all that stuff. Jackie.
I don't think it's about the camera, I think it's the person behind the camera. But I did start off with Nikon because that was meant to be the camera. And I had it stolen from me in South America. And so I had 30 rolls of transparency, and what was I going to do? So the only thing I could buy was a Canon, and it was an Instamatic Canon at that. So I spent 2.5 months through South America and didn't know till I got back. And I got these amazing highlights. And everyone knows in slide or transparency, you've got to get detail in the highlights. And I had shot for 2 months trusting this little Instamatic, and I came back with these incredible highlights. And then I went for Canon for the rest of the time. But I do believe it is about the person who's holding the camera.
That's not the line. That's quick.
I'm going to say the same thing. It's actually the best camera is the camera you've got on you. And I've got a range of cameras. I've got a Nikon, I've got a Canon. I think I've still got a Nikon. I've got a Mamiya. I've got plastic cameras. I do a lot of work on my phone. So yeah, again, it's not necessarily about the
And camera, large format.
Oh, you've got one? Yeah.
Yeah, similar. It's definitely the eyes behind the camera that takes the photo, I think. So on the same, I've got a large format Mamiya. Sort of swapped from Nikons to Canons when I worked in newspapers because we used their cameras and they always swapped. But now I'm back with Nikon. It's a bit like driving a car when you get used to how it works, you don't have to think. So that's the only reason I'm with the Nikon. I'd have to think if I swapped again to the Canon.
I'm a mixed bag, so I use Nikon, I use Singer, so I use large format, I use medium format. It just depends on what I want for the final outcome. So I have no prejudice against anything as long as it practice things that I want to practice.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. The camera system itself isn't really important. But having said that, I used Nikon for about 30 years because my dad had a whole suite of Nikon stuff. And just the last 2 years I changed to Canon because I needed it to integrate with our school software. And I would spend a lot of time out of school on the phone to the helpline working out how do I switch something back. So it's whatever you're really comfortable with. And Canon's Zoom's always in the wrong way to Nikon's Zoom. Frustration, but they all take brilliant photos, is what you see through the rifles.
I think it's all been said. I started, my first camera was a Canon, but everything's Nikon now, but except for what I mainly take photos with these days is the iPhone, because that's everywhere. But when I am taking nice things, I'm trying to dig the Nikon out. I've got a little Fuji for street photography, but that's, I remember, I don't want to steal Andrew's thunder, but I remember him giving a talk like 15 years ago. And you said, I remember you saying something like, it doesn't matter what camera you have, if you don't stop and use it when you see the picture, that's what matters.
So true.
You can't not.
It's probably recorded somewhere. Yeah, it's all been said before. I had Nikon when I was moving to Australia. I sold it, so I bought Canon, and then I still have it. This series was shot at Fujifilm early in July this year. My first ever camera only camera that I won was Hasselblad, which I still have, and I intend to use it for my next film project if I can afford the film actually. But yeah, it doesn't matter what camera it is. I think lenses are more important, I guess, than the eye and the angle and the subject. So,
I like it. I've got a saying, this is the camera. What you hold in your hands is a dumb machine. And they're pretty smart dumb machines, but it's a dumb machine without human input. That said, I'm a heretic. I use Fuji cameras through and through, and I really love them.
I guess I started so long ago. I started off with a Pentax camera here, and you had to screw the lenses in. So that made things really slow and really difficult. But now I'll use an iPhone, or mainly I use cameras that I build myself. So that to me is half the fun, building a machine and sorting out the bricks.
Oh, I thought that was going to take 30 seconds.
I should ask that question.
Well, I have other questions to ask. Okay. Who wants to start with this? Who was your main photographic influence?
Probably John Cato. Ballarat, my first year in 1974, he really made me see different. I mean, nobody saw any future in me at the time, mind you, but I saw something in John's work that really changed me. And if you don't know who John Cato is, I suggest you go and have a look at his work, because it's truly inspirational.
You mentioned of John Cato, so there's many years, well, not that many years ago, but quite a few years ago when I came to photography late. And in fact, I was a neighbour to Robert Ashton, although we never met. I was a farm manager down in Harry's Inlet, and Robert had built a house just in the bush. And to make a long story even longer, I decided after the bushfires that I would see if I could get into university and learn how to do this photography bit properly. And so there were two courses I was interested in, RMIT and somebody. No, what's with the VCA? No.
Yes.
No, take a picture. No, it wasn't BSc.
north of the city.
Not telling me
Well, except they won't be in MIT then. But anyway,
make long story even longer. Because I'd heard about this famous photographer in Arizona, Bob Ashton, who was a Parang graduate, I'll apply for Parang. And so I got interviews at all three colleges, and I rocked up to Parang and put my work up in front of John Cato, and he looked at it and he said, "Now Jeff, tell me honestly, have you applied for any other course?" I said, "Yes, I applied for Preston. Preston Institute of TAFE was the other course." He said, "Yes, I've applied for Preston and RMIT." He said, "Jeff, RMIT is the place you should be." Well,
My influences, I think it's